Guys, welcome back. I just finished recording that video that the team wanted me to record for you guys, and then actually I completely am blanking. It was literally like a second ago. I just ended, and now I'm starting this one. I'm blanking on what we just talked about. Oh, it was an activation. Yeah, so we came through with an energetic activation, and attunement is what they were saying, introducing the conditions for unity consciousness and inner integration for you. Also, we did some clearing and information came through as always. So, first of all, we want to thank our spirit teams. Thank you guys for all of that. I'm just jumping back on very quickly because another thing that they asked me to do is to follow up with a little bit of a breakthrough is what they're saying, but I was going to say a little bit of a breakdown, not breakdown, a little bit of information about how to properly proper spiritual hygiene. This is going to be a quick one about clearing, shielding, and programming your energetic field. And I say a quick one because what I actually want to do is to do a longer video with visuals and all of that good stuff for you on spiritual hygiene in general, which will not only have what I'm going to be telling you tonight, but some other techniques as well. So anyway, but that won't be tonight. That will be at a later time. So tonight, what I'm going to do is very quickly give you an idea of how to navigate this earthly plane, especially with all of the collective energies that are happening right now, how to navigate in a way that aids your health and well-being, right? And when I say aids your health and well-being, I'm pretty much talking about how to manage your energetic space so that you can have better health, better well-being, and just a safer and more enjoyable time energetically and physically on this planet. Now, just in case you didn't know, you may be aware that in the physical plane, you navigate this earth by way of using your legs, super cute, or using a vehicle of some sort, right? And that's how we move to and fro. However, in the reality is that you don't actually navigate this earthly plane in that way. You may think you decide to go here and go there because certain tasks you have to go to the post office because I have to do this, mail this letter, I have to go to work because, but actually the reality is that you navigate this world based on your beliefs, because, and we've talked about this a lot, but I'll just truncate it very quickly. Your belief in what you are, either you are in alignment with your I am self concept, in which case you are using a divine self concept, a true self concept, where you speak of your higher self. I am love, I am abundant, I am, all of that. Or you adopt a self concept that is of a low frequency and that is programmed by your lifetimes here on earth. And that's where you have those deeply embedded ideas of I am a victim, I am a martyr, I am poor, I am lacking, I am all of that. That is really just a state of the I am not. So at any given time, the engine that is you here as you walk this planet is only ever operating or driving or being animated. Let's put it that way. The engine that you are is only being animated, AKA moved by frequencies that are in alignment with one of two things. Either it is in alignment with your healthy and true self concept of I am, or it is in alignment with your unhealthy, egoic I am not. In other words, you're either in alignment with love or you're in alignment with fear, right? As we know on this channel, we've talked about it many times. Only love is real. We've heard that, of course, in Miracles says that. Some of you may have heard that quote in Isolation, only love is real. That is a very metaphysically sound statement. It's not some flowery, poetic thing, although it sounds beautiful. But only love is real literally refers to the fact that it's substantial. Anything that has love, the frequency, the substance, the energetic substance, right? The spiritual substance, the soul, anything that has that is what we can also call love. That is God, that is source, that is literally universal consciousness energy. If it does not have love, remember, love is just a fabric here. Please don't think of it like, oh, I love you, and then a heart. And no, that's not what it is. It's a frequency, it's a substance. Energetic matter, let's think of it that way if you'd like to. Anything that is not love, meaning anything that's fear-based, anything that is I am not, anything that it contradicts what God is, what source is, what you are, because all of that is one, right? It doesn't exist. It's not real. And it's metaphysically sound because you may believe that it's real. Because if you look into 3D, you may see all these forms, and form is just going to be material, and it could be based off of what is real and what is not, because this is the land of form. Anything that is going on in the mind space is going to manifest here. But if your mind is in alignment with what is real and what has substance, what has value, what is love, then it's going to be substantial because it exists. It's creation, creationary energy. It exists on every level of the field. The third density, fourth density, fifth density, sixth density, all the way up outside of time and space. Because why? Because it's reality. It is source energy. It's the creator's own energy creating. And so that's why it exists. So when we say only love is real, please understand that that is substantial. It matters. Do you see what I mean? But on this earthly plane, the rule of earth is that whatever is going on in your consciousness, whether it's real or unreal, whether it exists or does not exist, whether it has meaning or is meaningless, whether it's valuable or it has no value, whether it is in alignment with your I am, whether it is in alignment with what you are not, right? You get it. Whether it is self-accepting, self-affirming, life-affirming love, or if it is self-denying, self-doubting fear, it's going to manifest on this planet because this is a planet where your thoughts become things. What are the things? Forms, people, places, things, situations, ideas, mental states, right? All of this, they're manifestations of either love, aligned frequencies, or I am not, nothingness. Okay, so you on this planet, you're only ever emitting one of two frequencies to the universe. Frequencies that are real, meaning they align with what is real, your reality, creationary energies, using the creation of sources, substance, which we can call just love. Or you are vibrating nothing, right? Nothingness. It's either everything, because God is everything, or it is nothing and it doesn't exist. Why? Because only love is real. And what is not real does not exist. It's the greatest dupe here on this planet because the rule of the planet, again, and forgive me if I'm repeating myself, but I do want to repeat myself multiple times in different ways so that we can kind of get it, right? The dupe of this planet, the whole rub of this planet is that anything that is in your consciousness, that you're carrying in your consciousness, will be made manifest on this plane of existence. And that's why one of your tasks with your boots on the ground is discernment. Discernment asks you to recognize, to build on the skill of being able to discern what is real, aka what is of love, what has substance, what matters, what exists on every level of creation, all the way up to the creator himself. You need to learn to discern that and distinguish it from what is meaningless, what has no substance. Unfortunately, both of those things can be found in people, places, things, situations, ideas, mental states, all of that here on this planet. Because it's just a rule of this planet. Everything with enough belief and enough momentum behind it Enough practice is going to be made manifest down here. Okay, so mastery. People who are here to master and are working at it will understand that they have to hone this ability. Okay, now, how do you get started? We talked about it already. You master your self concept. You must know thyself. That means start looking inward. You are, as far as you're concerned, you're the records. You're the Akashic records. You're the expert on yourself. Everything that you ever need is inside of you. You were born with it. And guess what? You will leave this planet with it, right? You don't need to light 10 candles, read any holy tomes, any of that to get this started. You start to recognize yourself. You go into prayer. You declare what it is that you need from this universe. I need to know what I am. Anything that is not me, back off. Anything that is me, reveal yourself. But that is not a simple prayer to just kind of throw out to the universe and expect, okay, I'm gonna, that's a prayer to move heaven and earth in your mind to show you what you are. And that means that all the tomfoolery, all the false programming, all the false light techniques, all these false political policies, all these false people in charge, all these false family members, all these false self concepts, all of that, they're going to start to fall away. They're going to start to tremble first, energetically vibrate, because you look at when you say, because of what you are, when you say, this is what I want, and you mean it, the universe must give it to you. That is your birthright. And it doesn't mean, oh, I want a husband, and now a husband shows up. No, because at the same time, vibrationally speaking, you may be carrying, I hate men. Men are dogs. I'd rather take 10 bears over one man. How could the universe work with that? So we're talking certainty. When you, as the multidimensional co-creator being, you're multidimensional because you're made of love, and therefore you exist on all levels of the field. What is not real will terminate at some density. It may not even be able to exist beyond the fourth density or the sixth density, because it's not real. It's just some mind stuff, consciousness stuff. It's definitely going to be on this planet, though. I'll tell you that for free. And that's why you must wake up and harness your self concept. Know what you are. I am a multidimensional co creator being. I am source having an individuated experience. And because I'm individuated, one of the hallmarks of individuation is that I no longer have free access, meaning easy access to all that is, to all knowing, to omniscience. But that's my true state. My true state is omniscience, knowing everything, because everything, I have access to everything. But when I chose, you chose to come into this earthly plane and to have this cycle down, small perspective, sense of self, so I can have a little unique experience, so I can do a thing, I agreed to give up what? I've agreed to give up my knowing. So now the best I can do down here is the P word, perceive. And that because I can only perceive, that means that there are certain things I can't do. The biggest one is the J word, judge. You cannot judge unless you know. And because you cannot know while you're here, you cannot judge. So you just DYB, do your best, right? So the first step that you would do is to recognize that what you think you are is not what you think you are. You are what we said you are, and that is what you need to keep in your mind. You call upon spirit to give you access, to help you access your own wisdom. That's your higher self. Another term for your higher self is your higher mind. When you align with your higher mind's concept of you, which is that you are love, and because of what you are, sovereign, co-creator, multidimensional being that is fully loved, has nothing to be forgiven for, has access to everything, and has been denied nothing because you chose to be here, by the way. No one forced you to be here, regardless of what low vibrational ideas are on the planet right now. You did not just come down here because someone forced you. You chose to be on this planet. And so you see, that does not violate spiritual law. Spiritual law says you do what you want because of what you are. So if you're down here, you understand you're down here for a reason. And one of the main things that you have to do is remember to choose to believe that you are love. If you are love, you cannot be fear. You cannot be a victim. You cannot be a martyr. You cannot be these things. You can have experiences of being a victim on this planet, but you must understand that's not what you are. You've had an experience and you must process that. And you must work through that in whatever modality is best for you in alignment with your soul curriculum and what you feel moved towards. But your job is to stay in mastery. I had this experience, but it is not me. I am love. We talked all about that already, so I'm not going to go too much more into that. So the first thing, going back to your spiritual hygiene, the first thing you must do is remember what you are and do your best every day in your own small way, 1 minute a day, to cognitively remind yourself of that. At this point, I'm just going to go ahead and pause very quickly, and for those on Instagram to head over to YouTube, and YouTube, you guys just stay 1 second and I'll continue. Okay, yes. So continuing here. So know thyself. So remember what you are, affirm what you are. And because of what you are, you know that you are divinely protected, you are divinely provided for because of your birthright, access to everything. Okay. Now, I do want to say, if you feel tempted to say, well, how could I have access to everything? I can barely buy food tonight. And you're saying I have access to everything. Understand that you've got 1 foot in, 1 foot out. You're here to have experiences. Again, maybe your soul wanted to have an experience of impoverishment or whatever. But the goal that you came here to learn and hopefully maintain and reinforce as you leave this planet is that you are not poor. And there are many, many people out there who, I mean, it's a tough one, trust me, but there who have exemplified and modeled that for us, where they may be the poorest on earth, but they understand that their richness, their enrichment isn't determined or reflected by what they have in the material here, but rather in their richness of spirit. And even having that mindset will set in motion matter in a certain way around you, right? You're multidimensional. So whatever you think you're experiencing on this physical plane pales in comparison to what is also occurring for you as you make choices down here in your mindset and on this planet, but what's also occurring for you on different levels of the field. Now, some of you who are very sensitive to energy, you understand what I mean when you're already experiencing on some level of your field what you're going to be experiencing in the physical later. And so you understand that because you can feel it, you can go and you can tweak things, you can make different choices. You're a multidimensional being, so just trust me, okay? So remember what you are and affirm it daily. Move in alignment with your with spiritual law. We've talked about that already. Go back if you want to learn more about that. And of course, I will put out something a little bit more official later. But we did a rundown of that in the July 2025 reading. These are all things that you can be doing for proper spiritual hygiene. Oh, thank you. They're like atoning. Okay, the atonement. Now, when we say the atonement, this is not a religious thing that we're referring to. And we're talking about metaphysical stuff moving in the energetic space. Now, all of this learning came to us onto this planet through very great messengers, right? We have all these lovely religions that came from wonderful messengers, but guess what? Whose hands did it go into? The hands of humanity. And back in the day, there was some real lack of consciousness around a lot of stuff, and it was passed down through now. So it's to the point where, just do your best. So when I say atonement and things like that, that may sound religious, always seek to understand what the definition is. So here, the way they're saying atonement is about working with the Holy Spirit, another religious term that has nothing to do with religion. It just refers to the entity, so to speak, that was created by the Creator. Remember, God, the Creator created, all of us and da da da. But it also created the Holy Spirit, which is like a bridge in frequency. It allows us at this low frequency to be able to still have access to our knowledge, our wisdom, our complete awareness, which we don't have while we're down here. It's a gift. And you can think of this Holy Spirit as words that are beautiful, as the hand of God, the voice for God, right? The wisdom, all of this. It's a whatever. It's a great teacher. Anyway, so when you are aligning with the Holy Spirit, it is that frequency that gives you access to higher knowledge, higher wisdom, higher consciousness, your higher mind, all of that. That's the pathway. It's a direct connection to source, to God, they're saying, and it's very real, as opposed to what? The egoic voice. That's the counterposition here. The egoic self has no wisdom because guess what? Remember, what is it? It's not real. And in fact, we know this if you have metaphysical vision and you look into the different dimensions, you will see again these things that are not real, not exist the higher up you go in frequency, because it literally cannot exist with higher frequencies. And that's why I said earlier, when you, as a creator being, co-creator being, and you with your power and your sincerity, and you're knowing when you speak and you use that I am, and you use that true I am, that true self-concept, I am, everything shakes because it's either the matter and the molecules and all that stuff that is around you is in alignment with that frequency you just spoke, that divine frequency, divine consciousness, or it is not. When you say, I am a loser, I am not good enough, I'm inadequate, and we're all saying this on some level and unconscious, so we're admitting that there. But you want to reinforce your I am so that that I am state of being, that self concept, starts to be more dominant than the egoic voice, right? This is what we're working on here. We're cultivating that. But when you speak those low level frequencies and you move in alignment with those low level frequencies, low self worth, and all of that, what you're doing is you are reaffirming your I am not. And that doesn't do anything but keep you trapped. But when you speak what you are and what you believe that you are is in alignment with what you truly are, Lord, may the earth have mercy, right? It must move to provide for you in alignment with what you said, what you believe to be true, because of what you are. And so that's why things shake, they tremble. If they're not in vibrational accord with that deadbeat mate that you have, they cannot be in the field of such a high frequency of alignment. They're going to fling out. And when these people, places, things, situations, ideas leave your space, when these jobs fire you, or you get laid off, or you get tired one day and you say, that's it, I'm going. Or when the better job offer comes in and you take that, whatever it is, however these things exit your life, you let it go. And that's why we said, be careful when you start to work with your I am at this level of divine consciousness and divine awareness. When you align, it's very strong. It's very potent. And you are the key, because whatever you believe to be true about yourself and you speak out and you act on this planet, You're affirming that reality. And if you're just going to be out here tiddlywinks, but I'm a victim, so I'm going to go and do this. I'm mad because blah, blah, blah. That's you affirming that you believe in the falsity that you're seeing outside. You believe in it so much that you're going to take up arms and you're going to this and that, and you're going to, and then you can dedicate a whole life to that, multiple lifetimes to that. But you will only serve to continue to be at that frequency. You're not going to break it apart. You will still be at that bandwidth, even as you move and reshape things in that field. But when you're ready to step into divine consciousness, you must be in alignment with that divine consciousness. And you must embody it. And so you must speak it out. And that when I say speak it out, I'm not saying go to the top of Mount Everest and say, hear me roar. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about making the resolve within you, making the resolve within you. It's certainty that you're working with. That's that knowingness. And it looks simply as, hey, I know the programming that I'm carrying, that the egoic voice is always going to be there because I'm in a realm of polarity at this time. But I know what I am. I may I may sometimes not believe it because of the programming on the other side of me, that egoic programming. But it's my job. Yes, that's right. That's right. You're the sovereign person. You're the one in charge. Accountability. It's my job to make sure that what I give my lip service to, my vibrational attention, my vibrational accord to, is in alignment with what I am. Because when I keep beating that drum, eventually it's going to become my dominant expression. And then nothing on this planet, right? That's when you really start to see the bugaboos come out, because that's when whatever notices these things will notice you. Now look at this. Look at what's the next card. Will notice that you just came online. And that's what we call, flowery language. Oh, the gods are awakening, the sleeping giants, the whatever you want to say it. Who are those? It's you. It's within the human species to awaken to their divine consciousness. But they must work for it. You must master the lower thoughts, the lower frequencies, the trauma energies. You got to work through it. That's why we come back multiple lifetimes. And whether you're aware of it or not, you wanted to come back. You wanted to come and hone this. Not all souls come to earth, just like not all souls, were in, let's say, in Andromedan lifetimes, or were Arcturian. Not all souls go everywhere, right? People are going, souls are going all sorts of places, but some come here and some choose to embody in the human race. But there are other races here on earth. We leave it at that, right? Some choose to be within the human race. And the thing about the human species is that there is the ability to step into divine consciousness. It's a route to activating the God self within. But you can't just wake up and decide, I'm going to do that, and then also be out here shouting at the person on the street because so and so. You must awaken your consciousness in order to do that. Look at that. Unplug from mass consciousness. Guys, what are we even doing? Do we even need to shuffle? You cannot be your God self if you are plugged into the I am not. The world, if you follow it, will have you be a follower. It will have you be a battery. It will have you be on a treadmill so that you can power institutions to, that will just generate money and generate fear and all that in order to give certain populations what they want, certain species what they want. And let's just leave it at that. But you don't benefit from being in the fear state, while others in the physical and non-physical may benefit from you being in the fear state. So if you're watching this video Recently, Spirit has been providing this information through me for those who wish to activate and awaken and step into another level of consciousness. That level of consciousness is, I guess, the term that's coming through here is DC, divine consciousness. It's an opportunity to step into greater consciousness of the God within. And with that does come abilities. With that does come shifts in perception. And with that does come greater service, higher service. But it's not something that is bestowed upon you like, here you go, have fun. No, you earn it. And when we say earn it, it's not going to be like, you have to do this. It's not conditional like that. As we talk about on this channel, God doesn't say no to you, like, no, you cannot be in, it doesn't, source doesn't speak to you, or the creator doesn't speak to you in terms of what you cannot do. That's how you can also discern your higher self, the Holy Spirit, creator, the voices that come from God. They only speak to you about what you can do. So you will never hear what you can't do. So even if you hear me saying something like what I just said, like, oh, you have to earn it, we must translate that into the add the overlay of love that is source. This is how we move it from this category of low frequency to godly frequency. So I'll reword that. Instead of saying you must earn it, it means you must be able to receive, hold, maintain, body, all of that, the frequency. It's there for you. The creator has provided everything, but can you get yourself to that frequency? That's it. How do you get yourself to divine frequencies, to higher frequencies? You work through your mind state. You deny the control of falseness over your mind. You make yourself the inner authority. You learn to get back to yourself. Because what are you? You are source having an individuated experience, period. So you see how all of this goes into stepping you into higher frequencies. The higher up in frequency you go, the higher so many things. Yes, new levels, new devils, right? And the more you awaken on this planet, kind of the more you stand out because you become a beacon. Why? Because you're taking on more frequency. And what is the frequency of God? It's light, it's love, it's truth. It's a dispeller. When you're working from higher frequencies and you look down, you realize, oh, what is black magic? It's not real. Because you're not in that level of belief to you're out of that level of belief that says, oh, what other people believe can affect me. You realize from higher frequencies, oh, it's not that anybody has any effect over my body and everything because of what they believe and what they think they're doing and using energy. It's because I believe that they have that ability and it's deeply rooted. And so therefore, until you can master this, it may not be this lifetime, that's cool. So then we continue to ask our angels and guides to help us to manage our energetic space and everything. But you understand the reality of what things are. That's why they say the devil, using this term, can't do anything to you. The only thing it can do is whisper in your ear and tempt you and throw you out of alignment, because that's all it is. It's throwing you out of alignment. So how do you step back into your godliness? You start to recognize what you are once again, and you continue to work at it. It'll be a little bit tough to kind of like just jump there because things seem so real down here in the physical. But the more experiences you have, the more of this drama of this true self concept that you continue to beat, the more you will start to see over time the matter around you shift. You'll start to recognize more miracles. You'll start to notice new things. You'll start to see more of your spiritual gifts come online. You'll start to perceive more, but you have to put in the effort. You've got to put in the belief and you got to put in the effort. It takes time, but go for it. And for some of you, you already know this. You're like, Jay, we already know this, been on this. And that's right, you have. Obviously, for you to attract this video and to bring this information to you. Yes, obviously. So now the next message they're saying is, because I will get to the shielding and all that stuff, but this is also foundational information. But they're interrupting very quickly to say that some of you are sleeper cells. I'm getting about 8 and number 8. So either there are 8 of you on this call, but it could simply be that Spirit is going to bring you the number 8 to help at some point, whether it's through a time, whether it's side of a bus, whether you're just walking in the zoo and some kid somewhere says, oh my God, there are 8 fish in here. Look, mommy. And you're somehow the 8 stands out to you. They're going to show you 8. Okay. And that is going to be a little bit of a symbol to tell you you're a sleeper cell. Now, when they say a sleeper cell, sometimes people are going about their daily life, blah, 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 nothing big, whatever, because in their soul's curriculum, that's what they wanted in order to, because remember, you still have your soul curriculum, you're here for school, right? And some of us have independent projects that we're also working on. But okay, sorry, I was just chatting with them. I'm scared really quickly. But what was I going to say? Yes, some of you are, I mean, you still have your soul curriculum and whatnot, but some people, yeah, so they'll like put it in their soul's curriculum that they won't wake up until a certain time. And that's because they have other things they want to learn, right? But when it comes time to wake up, they will start to awaken. And in a sense, you could see them as a sleeper cell where they're undetected and they just wake up one day and then boom. But another thing that they were saying with the sleeper cell is for some people, it's kind of like I don't want to go too much into this because whatever, but some people are undercover agents. Now they look just like you and me, human beings. We're here doing this, and wow, I'm a nobody or I'm a somebody or whatever on this planet. But if you see, and I don't usually use this word too much, but if you see their SR, spiritual ranking, their function, what, their mission, all sorts of stuff, you got to, I don't know. I will say this, and I just want to see if I can say it, but one client, I won't say what quote unquote God they worked with or deity, but I will say this: when things cross my desk, I just say, "Oh, I guess that's a real thing." But I was on my bed minding my own business, and I heard an order come in on Etsy. It's so cute. It has like a like a cash register. So I was like, yay. Anyway, oh, by the way, if you'd like to book a reading with me, feel free session with me. But anyway, I love to hear it. So I'm like, yay. And so I was on my bed, kind of just scrolling on my phone, and I heard, and I was like, yay. And then I was like, oh, let me go take a look at see who it is, get the vibe of the person. And I heard my guide say, sit up for this one. This is a big one. I was like, mm-hmm. So I sat up, meaning like, attention, kind of like, oh, like you have somebody very important that you're going to read for. And then they told me who the God was or the deity was that this person worked for, they were employed for. So I will just say this. I won't say which culture it was from, but it's an ancient one. We can probably guess. And it is a big time God. And the minute I tapped this person's energy, I was like, oh, yeah, okay. But down here, she's just, regular, whatever, whatever. And so the point is, this goes into what Spirit mentioned in the last video. I think it was last video or 2 videos ago. Sorry, guys. They said, be mindful how you treat people because you could be entertaining angels unawares. Now, it doesn't have there, that's the quote there, but it may not just be an angel. It could be other species. It could be other whatever, but royalty even. I'll say that. And I'll leave it there. But when we say sleeper cells, some of you, again, look for that number 8, they said, may well be somebody like that. And some of you are aware of that you are. And some of you may not be aware of what you are, or of your ranking, or of your mission, or whatever, right? But when it comes time for you to really do your stuff, get to work on this planet, especially if you're required at the conscious mind to be aware of what you're doing and what your function is, then you will know, right? So anyway, I was like, why did I need to tell that story? But they wanted me to. So that's for somebody out there. So anyway, I don't know how long I've been on this call. I said I was just going to come in and tell you about the clearing, shielding, and programming, and then I went into telling you what is probably the most important, because I guess I can't get to that without talking about this. And what's most important, especially at this time, as a lot of souls are stepping into divine consciousness. It's the level you're at now, right? And being activated and stepping into it, you reminded that not only do you have to cultivate the proper self-concept, which is your I am, not your I am not, but your I am, and to work cognitively and putting your lip service and your actions behind that healthy I am. In addition to that, you've got to make sure that you do your best to keep those vices away. Notice what they are, learn about them, go Google them. What are the vices? You can actually come up with a whole list of many more than 7, but those 7 get you. Any one of those will get you. So please, and the reason why you have to do that is because that is how you can get pulled out of alignment. It's very easy, always very easy. So no matter what being you are, whether you're an angelic, whether you're a star seed, whether you're a dragon, whether you're a unicorn, whether you're whatever, and you got spiritual ranking and you're here for the time being in the physical, donning a human body, you still have to contend with this low level human consciousness. So it's very real that beings come here from higher octaves and higher frequencies, so to speak, in order to help lead us into right-mindedness and into healthy consciousness living and into proper structures on earth and love, and bring the earth into a higher frequency. But it's possible that a lot of them succumb to the earth's atmosphere and the collective consciousness and the programming down here, because it's too difficult for them to rise up out of the false mindset that they have found themselves in, especially because a lot of them choose to be born into low frequency homes. The very people that they came to liberate, they choose to be born into those families a lot of times to help break up some low frequencies there, to help. They're also saying because a lot of them want to be tied to that area as well. They want to have it become sort of a vibrational match to get a taste of the vibration of what it is that they came to dismantle. But if you're not careful, you can lose your way, right? And so that's why we really have to watch those vices. Connect with yourself, remember what you are, cultivate proper self-concept. I am. Remember, God cannot fail, so I cannot fail. If I'm experiencing failure, that's not a part of me. It's an experience I'm having, but it's not me. I do not identify with that. I just nip it in the bud and move on. Do my best, even if it takes me a couple of decades to whatever. But I do not identify with that. Yes, I can use AI, I can use new technology, I can do all this, I can be productive and efficient, and but I do not identify with what is artificial. That is not me. It cannot replace my God-given creativity. Even me here, because I had to talk to Spirit, because I'm like, Spirit, listen, you know me. And I mean, look at me, I barely wear nail polish. Like, where are we at? Although I do love it. I'm just, that's just not me so much. I like organic. I like natural. I like it to just be real. And so, you know, I was like, guys, where are we at? Because, but I do want to play around with AI generated images. There's one thing that I particularly want to do. I want to generate an image of a person inside of a bubble so that I can have that visual aid for, anyway. So I'm asking Spirit, I was like, guys, I'm not vibing with this frequency. It's just not real to me. I'm seeing, I don't like what I'm seeing. And then they had to hit me with you were here in Atlantis. And I was like, yes, I've been told, which I know. And a lot of you guys have been as well in one of your incarnations or a couple. I don't know, right? It was a long time. But and they said that you were in one of your Atlantis lifetimes, you were a research scientist and you worked alongside AI. I was like, oh, okay, that makes sense, I guess. And so they were like, and also artificial intelligence is where this world is going technologically. That's where it's going. So it's worth it to understand it and stuff. And then so I was like, well, listen, and I had to really stop and think about what was comfortable for me. And so what I came up with and when I told them my plan and stuff, they were like, yeah, they were like, you got it. I was like, oh, okay, okay, yeah. So for me, I I prefer, this is me, this is just me, no judges on anybody else, but I prefer to be as organic and natural as possible. And not just with AI, with everything. Like even as simple as I understand when I turn on music, it can be my favorite song or whatever. I understand that it's introducing a vibration into my field, but that's not my 0 point. When I turn off the music, when I turn off all this stuff, I go back to my 0 point. When I disconnect from all these people and all these thoughts and all this mass media, that's my 0 point. So I'm very much invested in what is real. And I don't want to muck about with what's not real because to me, it's a waste of time. Right. And so I feel on some level, I've always had that. So I've never been one to really get caught up in the club scene because in my mind, it just would always go to, well, wait a minute, this same club tomorrow at 2 p.m. is going to be dismal. Some rando is going to be sweeping the floor. The chairs are going to be up on the table. The music's going to be off. Like, people are going to be hung over. It's going to be daylight filtering in. What's going on tonight? It's not real. It's out. It's putting me out of my mind. The loud music, lots of lights, the energies that I could feel coming off people. So to me, it just never was appealing. Now we can go and have fun and all that, but I'm not going to sit here and get carried away, right? And so this is what I'm talking about. It's not real. It's a glamour. Hollywood, it's a glamour. Those people, there are people who walk around, everyday stuff, everyday people. Some of you even listening, your power to manipulate if you wanted. You could put on a glamour, you can put on a veneer. It's very easy to do that. Literally, it's literally projecting a force field around you that gives you that sparkle and stuff. Before you know it, you're wasting time. And you're in relationships with people who do that to you, right? So it's very important that no matter what you get up to on this planet, there's no judges. You can do whatever you want, fake everything, fake eyelashes, fake nails, you know, fake conversations, fake whatever. I'm in the movies, whatever you want to do it, have fun. But do not identify with that because that is not you. You must understand and remember what you are so that you can find yourself and orient yourself as you move through. Because the problem comes when you start identifying with these false things. And then somebody rejects you with your fake nails and all this. And now you're thinking, oh, I'm not pretty, I'm not appealing. You were focused on the wrong thing to begin with. You look in the mirror and you're like, oh, I hate myself. Why are you looking in the mirror? The mirror has no ability to reflect what you truly are. It cannot tell you what your true value is. So you're out here breaking your own heart because of what you see in the mirror. And God forbid that you thought you dressed up really cute and so isn't into people like you because they're into other people like that. And all of this is just false stuff. False learning for the men, false learning for the women, breakdown of communication between each other, all sorts of stuff. So when you remember what you are and you focus on what is real, make that your standpoint, what better form of protection on this planet can you have but that, right? There's a certain level of reality you must be able to have at your core because that goes into your discernment. That means when you turn on the TV, you're not caught up in the glamour. Politicians, glamour, right? Is glamour. That's all it is. We see it here on the social media things where a lot of people now they're sad because when they turn on the TV, they see what other people are up to, what they look like. It's not real. And so you must learn to be about self. The age of Aquarius is going to chew you up and eat and spit you out if you're not able to tap into reality. The reality is where? Inside of you. Once you touch that core inside of you and you make that, you continue to beat the drum, even as you go through whatever it is you're going through, because you do have a soul curriculum and you do have things your spirit wanted to play around with and experiment, but do not come to identify yourself with that. You will lose yourself and you will put yourself on a trajectory. For example, with the art of AI, if you start using that to take over certain tasks that God gave you, creativity and all of that, to now take shortcuts and all of that, what you're doing is you're literally on moving away from what you are, even more into what you're not, right? Have fun, but don't identify with it. And that's what Spirit said. The Spirit said that the lesson for a lot of people in this Aquarius age, remember, Aquarius is the age of innovation in all areas, not just technology. But they said that the lesson that a lot of people are going to have to learn right now, just using AI as the example, is that it is not something that they should be identifying with. It's not to be idolized. So that means don't take seriously some question that you existential question you wanted to find out, that you should have taken inside and connected with divine self, because that is real. It goes all the way up on every level, every dimension, even outside of this time and space false arena. That's where the true answers are. It's you. You are the prototype that we're trying to make technology to approximate, but it can never duplicate you. And there are beings in this universe that know that. That's why they want humanity, human consciousness so under wraps, because the minute you wake up to that divine consciousness, it's game over, right? But if you get caught up in all these fake things that are going to take over your birthright, you literally are a creative being. But if you are going to outsource your creativity to something else, if you're going to outsource jobs to agents, little tech agents, to the detriment of a lot of people who rely on jobs, for example, because what? What's the vice here? Greed, right? So it's all tied in. So when Spirit is saying that you can be protected when you step into self, you must step into self, understand what you are, beat the drum, make it your decision every day. If you can eat something every day, if you could keep a journal every day, you can take, if you can smoke a cigarette every day, you can take a minute or two to affirm what you are. Even as you experiment out in the world, as you engage out in the world, you remember you are not what you see out in the world. And the things you see out in the world are not your gods. So you don't idolize them. When we idolize something, it means that we put our attention and our identification onto something. It means that we think that whatever it is that is outside of us has the capability of giving us, let's say, salvation is the word they're saying. Salvation meaning just release from pain. But we don't understand that the wires are crossed. Pain comes from being outside of yourself. Suffering is outside of yourself. It's believing in attachment to things outside. You know, Buddha's out here like shout out, right? When you align with yourself, that is your route to everything. It's life affirming, vitality, youth, all of this, because it's literally you creating alignment so that universal energy can flow right through you. Look at this. If you're not aligned with your life-giving energy, source, creativity, divine consciousness, then you are cut off from it. The I am not state, fear state, the worldly state is being cut off. And just like in your body, if there is a blockage in your field, in your body, what happens is the blood, for example, here using a blockage in the cardiovascular system, what can't flow? Blood, oxygen, nutrients, all sorts of stuff. And then what happens? Atrophy. That's why they say to be alive, but without connection to self is death, because now you're atrophied. You're in a separated state of mind. So you must get back into your right-mindedness by recognizing what you are, minding the vices that are around you that will tempt you out of alignment. And those vices are not just hanging in the air. They can be as thought forms, and you just happen to walk into an area and now, boom, it's a thought form that hits you. And now you're like, oh my God, suddenly I feel like going and doing A, B, C, D, E, because it's in the air. Sure. If you're not properly shielded up, and we will get to that, right? It can get you, but they can also get you through people. Through people. Sometimes they call it the Agent Smith effect, right? Some people call it monitoring spirits, whatever you want to call it. These are all discursive words for, you know, basically, if somebody else isn't properly aligned with self, now they're open to being coerced, compromised energetically, right? If they're in a low state of being and they're living a low consciousness lifestyle and they're abusing their body and all sorts of stuff, or they're hanging out with the wrong crowd, what's happening? They're in persuasion of lower frequencies, and now you're friends with them, or you live with them, or dear God, you share the same bed with them. That's like an inroad, right? So you'll have to really up your spiritual hygiene. And some of you I'm hearing, don't think that, oh, well, I'm vibing really high, so this low vibration boyfriend I'm with or whatever, I can change him. Stop it. Stop it. If your great grandmother and a great grandmother couldn't do it, you can't do it. So this is a moment to cut and run. Somebody, right? So be mindful. Spiritual hygiene also means minding your energetic input. So the people you're around, the movies you're watching, the areas you're going to, right? Again, sometimes you just have to do those things. Sometimes you just want to watch a movie. Sometimes you want to hit the club. Sometimes you want to go to Vegas, whatever. But be mindful to control your energetic space. That's your job. That's absolutely your job. Don't be like those people who don't brush their teeth 365 days of the year, and then they go on that one day and expect the dentist to just work miracles. Or don't be like that person who never washes their hair, and then they go to the salon and they're like, oh, that's what they're here for. No, have some good shame. I'm joking. No shame, but think about it. Go home and think about it, or go in your car and think about it. Anyway, whatever. Yeah, so these are some things to do to, you know, create the conditions for higher consciousness living. But anyway, let's just jump because I can go on. There's so many other things. Anyway, let's just talk about clearing, shielding, and protect and programming. So, in addition to all that stuff that I just told you theoretically, and just, and don't forget to pray, they're saying, and also ground yourself every day. Thank you guys. Don't forget. And prayer is just simply like, hey guys, help me. Or please, I'd love some help. I'd love some extra protection as I go into the supermarket. Might be mindful of where you're going to. Supermarkets, hospitals, graveyards, dear God, nightclubs, dear God, certain parts of town, dear God, just ripe for entities hanging around. Yes, I did say supermarkets. Because guess what? Everyone and their mother is in the supermarket. Everyone and their mother has problems. Everyone and their mother may have energies following them or be in a funk or just whatever, right? So please, please, please shield up. Music concerts. I don't even want to get into that. Football games. I mean, anyway, tell me you want to harvest my energy without telling me you want to harvest my energy. Anywhere that gets you out of your mind, especially if there are substances involved, please be careful. Okay. Anywho, let's clear together. Let's practice together. When you're clearing your energy field, it's very simple. You just set the intention that you would like your energy field, your auric field, to be cleared of all low frequencies, all negative thought forms, any entity attachments, any fears, any fear-based energies, whatever it is that you feel you need. A lot of times you may be feeling really affected from the place you were just in, or maybe you just had a phone call, or maybe you're just thinking about a family member because they're projecting energy at you and you're minding your own business, whatever it is. If you're also feeling low self, like a low energy, or your mood is low a certain day, you're having a bad day, these are all great opportunities to clear your energy. So you can call upon Archangel Michael, of course. These are not religious beings. It's just a different species. And the angelic realm, it's just a different species. They're not humans, right? So they're not winged creatures, that are only within the religious, none of that. So just call upon very, very powerful, they're saying very, very powerful, I was going to say ancient energies, but I'm hearing them say archontic energies. Now, interestingly, I always hear about the archons as being negative energies, but anyway, when we receive something, we don't have to understand it in the moment. We take it and we put it on the shelf, because anytime spirit brings through something where we're like, that don't make sense, or that I disagree because I heard, don't even get into that. Receive it, put it on the shelf, and let spirit explain or define that to you, for you, or show you, let it unfold for you, or take you to resources, or bring resources to you over the next however many days, and you just let it go. Okay. Archonic design, whatever. Yes. But very, very, you call upon love-based energies. Keep it also simple. Call upon your higher self. Your higher self is just you, by the way. It's just your higher mind. It's not your egoic mind. Your egoic mind is not aligned with your truth. Your higher mind is aligned with your truth. Because what is your truth? Your truth is your soul. What is your soul aligned with? Spirit. The truth of you is you are spirit. We are all one in spirit. Okay, spirit is even higher than the soul. The soul is a level of individuation. Spirit is oneness. So that's what we actually are. We all one entity. And the what's the word? Substance of that is spirit. But then when we start individuating, taking on different vibrations and all of that, we have the soul. Yeah, we had like monad, and we have all oversoul, all that, and soul, blah, 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 all of that, all the way down to this personality. Hi, I'm Jonelle, right? So I refer to my higher self as Jelly Bean. You guys know that. I call my higher mind Jelly Bean. The higher self, or the higher mind, is that higher consciousness state for what? Your personality, your current self here on this planet. So I'm Jonelle, And I call my higher mind, like here I am, Jonelle, down here with other people. But my higher mind, which is not my egoic mind, but my higher mind, the one I want to align with, the one that sees my potential and can help me because it sees more, it has a higher perspective because it's in another level of self, multidimensional uh, characters here, right? I call that higher mind jelly bean because I play too much. Okay. Jelly bean. And so when our names combine, right? Janelli bean. So I really work hard in working with my inner authority. And that's what you guys could be doing as well. Don't always think you need to outsource to your guides or I mean, I dear God, I bother my spirit team. So we work together too. But there are a lot of people who forget that self authority and they may outsource too much to whatever ET beings or angelic beings or unicorn beings or whatever, but you have to, they don't, the real ones, the ones who are really love based don't want your power. They want to follow your lead and they want to assist you in your spiritual evolution. So sometimes it'll get to the point where they will not talk to you so that you get in the driver's seat because you are the team lead. It's you, you're the leader here. But any beings, even ancestral beings that are low frequency, not all ancestors should be even contacted. So a lot of these ancestor worship things and all that stuff, that's you got to be careful with all of that because things you shouldn't be worshiping anything. Everybody's brothers and sisters at different levels of the field. The only thing that should be given reverence is the creator. Everything else underneath that, we're all one. We're brothers and sisters because we're actually one. So we're not even brothers or sisters. In this individuated state, we do have some who are at elevated levels of frequency. So you can think of these brothers and sisters as upperclassmen, right? Because they're at higher states of expansion. They understand more. But at this level, you may lack the discernment to be able to tell from two light beings, which is the real light and which is the false light. They both shine just as brightly, but it's a trick of the eye. You must learn discernment. So that's why when we talk about going inward, finding your 0 point, getting to know your higher mind, all of this, that's where you need to go. And from that seat of consciousness, which is within you, activating your God self, your inner child, all of this, then your discernment comes online. Your heart activates, your mind activates. When you get into coherence, there's activation. Then you could look out and it becomes much easier to distinguish between false light and higher light and real light. Then you start to think differently. You're like, oh, why is this being telling me to do this? Oh, this is my twin flame. He's my 5D twin flame in the non-physical. And this is why is he rubbing up on you? Why is he trying to be romantic with you right now? This is not real. Get rid of it. Okay. Get rid of it. That is not what you, that is, don't even get me started on that. So if you're into that twin flamey kind of thing, be very careful and come see me if you have questions. We will help you because that's my mission here on earth. It's to introduce higher perspective so that we can know the truth. Look at this. Higher perspective, higher self and self, spiritual decree, the self card. So don't work with some of these deities that are hanging around, these 5D twin flame and this and that, and whether he's embodied or not. And he's like, no, there's so many boundaries that are crossed that a lot of people are not paying attention to because they lack the discernment and they end up falling into categories of all sorts of stuff. And if they could see what's actually happening in the astral, it's tethering to all sorts of beings. Okay, so you really, really need to get out of that stuff and be mindful. And we're not even going to touch on those who are working with certain energies that down here will just, you know, we'll just call it witch stuff, witchcraft. And I know unpopular opinion, be careful with certain energies. If you're not working with yourself first, you haven't gotten the spiritual discipline, the spiritual engagement with self, the foundation in self, and I'm talking about the God within, then be very careful what you're doing with things outside of you, because even your thoughts could be more in alignment with egoic stuff. Because the higher up in frequency you go, you don't step further into, let me see if I can wield this even more to do that. That's low frequency stuff. High frequency energy does not seek to control because there is a divine order. The higher up you go, you realize you don't fight your own battles. You let source create clarity for those that perceive of a battle because you understand there is no battle. Now, again, we're working towards this. This is what we're working towards. So the clearer you go, the more you go inside and the more you hone this and more you understand spiritual law, the more you can discern what it is that you're doing. And that's when people, that's why a lot of higher service people that are called to really build on stuff, they understand that they cannot be enmeshed in so many battles down here because number one, a lot of those battles are false. It's just in their mind state that they're projecting onto certain spaces and creating their own problems when actually there was not a problem there to begin with. Spirit is asking them instead to come down, capture the frequency, and get to work building. How could you be building and constructing with the frequency of love when you're stepping outside of that frequency of love to do all sorts of stuff? Now, there are certain people who do come down here to go toe to toe with the dark, but they have to be in a certain frequency in order to wield the light in dark spaces, as opposed to going dark, getting into these dark spaces, getting triggered, and then being completely thrown off. So you see, it always starts with self concept. Align with your self concept, proper I am, deny what is not you. Yes, you're feeling these ways and you have good reason. Trust me, we all have been victimized in many ways. We've had victim stories, victim experiences, but you must work through that, right? Continue. This is what we're here. We're here to transmute. But do not identify with your experience. You had an experience, but that's not you. Yeah, you experiencing poverty, but you're not poor. Where's the poor in spirit? That's not you. And so you must hold that sense of self. And the more you keep beating that drum, even as you work through and transmute things and heal certain thought patterns and help the world and all that, as you do that, you're consistently beating the drum of I am. You will transform your life. You will leave this planet in a higher frequency because you came here to do just that, to shift the scales back to what you are. Spiritual decree, look, it is all about what you think you are. It's all about waking up. What do you guys think we wake up to? We don't wake up to realize the Nephilim and we don't wake up to that. We wake up to divine consciousness. Don't get caught up outside of that because it's just puppets trying to take you off your path. So focus on you. So even a lot of these videos that, we watch, if some of you watch other YouTube videos and stuff, yeah, we all watch it. It's fun, right? You know me, I love it. Right? And I do it. But I'm very, very clear about myself, which videos I watch. And I can see why I watch certain videos. Sometimes I'm just in that egoic state where I just need to feel like I'm right about something. And I have a chip on my shoulder. So I'm going to watch certain videos that keep talking about other people. Well, they really messed up this time because you're this and you're that. Yeah, okay. I'm watching that and I realize it's a trade-off. It's the egoic self wanting to feel like I mean something. So I'm going to be gravitating towards that. But I know what that is. This is ego speaking to wounded ego. We don't need that. Who cares? Who cares what other people are doing? Who cares what that person, no contact, is thinking? Who cares what it has nothing to do with anything except to cater to a wound that is there. But when we remember what we are, and we can get back to it, and sometimes I'm like, okay, Jay, stop it. You stop it. Get back to the reality of things. Then that's when you start noticing that you're watching different kinds of videos with different messages. It's not talking about some person or this or that and how you made them feel and they're feeling jealous or they're feeling sad or they regret, getting rid of you, or all that stuff is not in these videos. Then maybe you might watch a video like this, which is challenging you to go inward. Be mindful of your emotional states. Look at what you're consuming. What are you eating? Who are you trying to talk to? Why? Everything you do has a reason. And it's never really the reason you think it is. And so always remember, no matter what you do, whatever you feel like doing, whatever you can't even avoid doing, wow, my ex is blowing into town and I just can't avoid it. All right, well, listen, that's probably what your soul needs right now. Because if you didn't need to learn a lesson there, then this ex wouldn't be so darn unavoidable for you. So I guess do what you have to do, but keep in contact with yourself. You should be reflecting. Just like any class that you take, you go through the class, you take notes, you reflect, you journal, and you evolve your mindset about stuff, right? So as you walk in this world, in addition to maintaining that self-concept and minding the vices and all of the vices, your vices and all of that, also embrace virtues, right? But again, until you have proper discernment, be mindful that even the virtues can feel a little, can be a little imbalanced. Yes, one of the virtues is compassion. It's a beautiful virtue to have, but we have compassion expressed in the dark, lower frequencies, and compassion expressed in higher frequencies. We don't need to get into it, but we all know what having compassion in the lower frequencies looks like. You maybe have been trained, a lot of women, right? We're trained to be compassionate and considerate for other people. But we see what happens when you're doing too much for other people and you forget yourself. Compassion begins at home. Charity begins at home. Generosity begins at home. All of this begins with you. Are you compassionate to yourself? Are you a slave driver to yourself? Or do you say, you know what? I'm going to give myself a day off today. I may be late with this deadline, but I need this. Because a lot of you will be a hop, skip, and a jump, myself included, to do it for other people, but for yourself, you would not do it because you hold your feet to the fire. Whereas for someone else, you're just like, oh well, don't worry, you can give it to me tomorrow. It's not a big deal, right? You need to advocate for yourself in that way. That's compassion. When you can cultivate that kind of compassion for self, when you can cultivate self-acceptance, things like that, then you can really be in a position to be more balanced with that virtue of compassion, for example, right? We also know how it looks when you're too much about yourself to the exclusion of others. So balance in everything that you do. It's another part of spiritual hygiene, but also clearing your energy field. We talked about that. Sorry, I'm going all over the place. Clearing your energy field. You ask your spirit team to help you to clear. And yes, of course, you can use, I just heard somebody ask, can I use it? Yes, you can. You can, of course. And, I always say, you don't need candles. You don't need all this. I always say that to remind you of your 0 point, that you were, how God created you and how you were born. You have everything you need. You could locate the universe in the palm of your hand if your eye is open enough to see it, right? You can do this. But that being said, the beautiful thing about ritual and about materials like candles and whatever else people use, the beautiful thing about those things is that there's a part of you, your egoic part of you, that believes so much in those things having the ability to maximize energy and maximize effect. So you could use it and it would do that for you. But the reality is, going back to 0 point, the reality is everything outside of you has no meaning except for what you give it. It is you who does this. We don't even need the cards, but I love to use the cards because the pictures are there and they kind of like give me a vibe. I like to use them. They feel distinct and stuff, but I know they're not necessary. I can close my eyes and do this. The same with you guys. You can close your eyes and clear your energy field. Look at her. She's clearing her energy field. You can clear, clear, clear. And so some of you could use, if you like affirmations, you could use that. Some of you like mantras, you can use that. Some of you like guided clearings. I love that. Steve Nobel, guys, check him out. His channel, love his channel. It's all about whatever your mindset believes could be powerful. Once you identify what you believe will work, well, go behind it. Yeah, get to it. I just like to push myself. And I like all these other things too, but I'm like, listen, I'm trying to be out here. Maybe it's a 29th degree of Capricorn. I'm sorry, overachievers. We're out here like, look, we're trying to master this. If I need to move this desk with my mind, let me see if I can do it. All right. The point is clear your energy field. The next thing you do, once you clear your energy field, and you want to do that every morning when you wake up because you were just traveling, yay, who knows what has come back with you and all sorts of stuff. Oh, thank you. They're saying to remind you to mention in the clearing, if you like Steve Nobel, he has a video and you could write this down. It's called, you can type his name, Steve, then Nobel, Nobel, and it's the quadruple grid technique. Now, that wasn't created by him. It was actually channeled by, I forgot, I think her name is Tachi Ren. She's no longer with us on this planet, but she brought that through. It's a very, very, I think she got it from the archangels or something to that effect. And it's a quadruple personal grid, thank you, technique. There are two types. One is the quadruple grid spatial, and one is the quadruple grid for personal. You must distinguish which is which. So be careful, because the one that's for spatial is what you use to clear space. It's not to be used on your auric field. Okay, so be careful. And the other one is the quadruple personal grid technique that Steve Nobel has. He has both of them, but make sure you find the one that says personal in his title. There are other healers and practitioners who use that technique also that was brought through. So it's not his, but I really do love his work and his energy. And he does a lot of work with the angelic realms, but also, yeah, I feel elemental with him as well, but really, yeah. But check his stuff. So anyway, so my team was reminding us, I guess reminding me to tell you, to remind you, I guess, that you can use the quadruple personal grid technique, clearing technique, in the morning and the evening or whenever you want, but it's good because it literally brings 4 grids around you, your energy field, and it just goes to town, and it's beautiful, it's wonderful. So, but anyway, you could also just do whatever else you, excuse me, want to do, or if you're like not even wanting to do so much, you can call upon your divine angels, your guardian angel, to come through and clear for you. You can also use your higher self to do so. And some of you could just do it quietly with nothing, right? I like to do that time to time. I just get quiet and I just run energy through my own field. I clear myself. Some of you can like to use Reiki as well, but I like to make sure I get my hours in doing things for myself, because that's what we're here to cultivate, right? But it's also nice to get help from other people, right? Anyway, so clearing every morning when you wake up, every night before you go to bed, and during the day as needed, because you get muddied up from your own thoughts and own energies, and also from things being projected onto you, places you're moving in and out of, all sorts of stuff. Next thing, after you're done clearing your field, so now you've ejected all these, all this stuff from your field, God bless, and you ask your angels and your to take these things away, because you don't want to be like a cute little wet dog and just shake it off and now the place is wet, right? You don't want to like clear all these energies from your field, now it's hanging out in the space. You want to make sure that you also ask for these energies to be transmuted or to be removed from the space. I always like to see an angel, I ask my angels. I really do play too much sometimes, but anyway, it's okay, it works. Holding like a golden bin, and so I always put the energies in there and they take it away. I'm like, oh, thank you. So after that, then you want to shield up. So that's when you put the shield of light around you. You can think of, oh, right here. Yeah, thank you. There it is. Right? Look at this guy. He could use a clearing because he's in the throes of it right now. What are you doing? Dark angel. Yeah, sir, sir, sir. Would you like to clear, shield, and program? Would you like to CSP? Right? So we already talked about clearing, so he's going to go ahead and do that. And then you shield up. You visualize a beautiful, large sphere, and you get inside of it. You can fill it with light, you can make it clear, but basically what you're doing is you're creating a force field like her. Perfect. Look at this. Oh, and look how our higher self, actually was the energies of this card, it called my attention. It was like they were like, look at this higher self taking this little bubble and blowing it down. So you work with your higher self to assist. And look, the energy is also saying, look, I have a little bubble too from my higher self. Higher, higher, right? And so it's all you. But look at her walking out in this world. Look at this guy. He's big mad. He's like, turn out that light. Right? Sir, please, please. Okay. These energies, people with low vibration, it's frequency. They cannot rub up against you. You'll go left and they'll go right. Sometimes it's like two ships in the night. They pass you, especially if you're so high. But if you're high and they're still kind of like in your force field a bit, they may get rubbed the wrong way. They don't like to see you happy. They don't like, because it's not you. They're not seeing you. It's the light that's triggering them. So what can you do? Instead of going into ego and being like, oh, well, he's so jealous, or they're just jealous of me. Wow, people want to see me do badly, or then that's all ego. Get rid of it as fast as you can throw it. Instead, if you happen to be somebody that moves with a lot of light and others react to you in that way, that they do want to stamp out your light or throw water on your parade or whatever, you don't use that as a moment to boost your ego. You recognize with compassion what's going on, because that energy of envy and jealousy is not fun to have. It actually hurts to experience that. And if you've never experienced that in your life, then really do your best to have compassion. And if you have been jealous of people before, you know it doesn't feel good. And so you wouldn't wish that on somebody else, right? So if you see someone going through it because in their life, maybe they don't feel good about their life, maybe whatever. So then when you come with this light, they're not seeing you. They'll take it out on you, but they're not seeing you. They're seeing the light, and it's reflecting back to them what is really themselves, because all of light is them just as much as it is us. And it just triggers them because of the density in their field. And so hopefully all these people will go and continue to clear and loosen up some of that stuff, right? As I just said, that I felt a lot of phlegm. Some of you may be moving with phlegm. Sometimes people who are very phlegmatic, is there a word for that? Is there a word for that? Where you have a lot of phlegm that you move with? Let me see. No, there's a word. I can't remember. Maybe some of you are like shouting it at the screen. But anyway, phlegmatic, let's just go with that. It just feels, yeah, like blockage there. Yeah. Sorry, I'm still looking. Yeah, okay. Oh, wait, no. Body's elements. Hmm, interesting. Anyway, I feel like there's a connection there, but anyway, getting tired. But let me finish this up. So yeah, so just felt like sometimes when people have a lot of phlegm in their sinuses and all sorts of stuff, it's like a little bit of it's related to this resistance that, like I was just picking up on, they may feel jealous or just whatever because of the reaction that they have to the light. Okay. So, and that's why you don't want to dim your light, right? So be mindful of when you move in spaces like that, if people uh, attack you or just whatever because of that, you don't want to dim your light. Of course, you want to shield up, protect yourself so that, and ask your angels and guides for extra protection. Another thing that you can do on top of that that shield is that you can cloak yourself with, you can say, a beautiful deep violet cloak. You can use the deep blue of Archangel Michael, his cloak, right? These are frequencies and they're very, very, very potent. So, and yes, they're also pointing out that some crystals could be really helpful, right? If you value crystals and you would like to work with them as protection, for sure. I love a nice black tourmaline, also a nice obsidian, things like that. But you work with whatever works for you, right? There are protection methods, they're saying. They're so funny. They're like, get on it. For somebody here, I'm seeing tea, like maybe some type of tea that you drink. That's news to me. Is there like a protection tea or something? But something about that. And in a sense, you can see it as that if there's like an imbalance in your body and something about the frequency of the tea when you drink it, it could help uh, patch that up, is what I'm getting. It doesn't have to be ginger tea, but that was coming to mind in my mind, but it's probably my conscious mind. So I want to hold space for that, being any other type of tea, whoever you guys are that is being told to be about the tea, right? So there are certain ways you can, when you're shielding, it could be something as simple as just saying, I now surround myself with divine white light that keeps me safe on all levels of the field. And I like to say in all directions of time, right? From all forms of interference, attack, danger, and harm, whatever. So that covers you different um, throughout the dimensions. There's also the 12th dimensional shield, 12D shield technique. I don't use that one as much, but I hear it's pretty good. It's like a cylindrical tube that helps protect you, through quite a few dimensions. But again, no need to get into all that. Maybe you can just ask your spirit team to help you. So finally, once you put your shield up, once you've cleared your energy field, now it's okay to shield up because it's clear and you're not trapping anything in. Once you put your shield up, remember that shields don't last 24 hours. They will last maybe a couple hours or whatever. You'll know when you need to shield up again because you might start feeling edgy and whatnot. But be mindful of your shields because they're very, very potent. It can keep things out. So that's why, or keep things trapped inside. So that's why we must also have the programming part. So the programming part, you want to clear, shield, and program. When you program your shield, always make sure that you program it to um, keep out anything that is not conducive to your health and well-being. That includes low frequency energies, low vibrations, negative thought forms, they're hanging around, negative thought forms, fear-based energies, all sorts of stuff. Just keep the muck and mire out. So you want to shield it to keep those things out. You also want to you also want to program your shield to transmute any energies that are inside, because you're going to continue it throughout your day to make your own energies and your own ups and downs and fears and all of that. So you want to make sure that you are not trapping yourself and hotboxing yourself basically with your toxic energies that you're emitting. So you want to ask that you want to program your shield. Oh, here it is. Thank you. You want to program your shield to continue to transmute the energies within. Like they're like, don't forget this. Yeah, asking God to refresh your shield that's a new one for me. That's good when they're adding that. Asking God to refresh your shield. You can use gold light. I love gold light. Oh, I mean, you look at all this gold. I love gold rimmed things. But anyway, white and gold. But anyway, that's neither here nor there. But or whatever frequencies you'd like. Sometimes I ask for rainbow frequencies of my shield to be in there with the intention that whatever color slash frequency is needed in any part of my energetic vessel in my mind space and all that, that it be fed with that. So I just like to do that. So yeah, sorry guys, I'm getting a little tired, but I'm gonna try and pump this out. My team, they're so good. They're like, keep going. I'm like, okay, all right. Where was I? Yes. So with the shielding, thank you. Make sure that you program your shield to keep things out that shouldn't be around you. Program your shield to transmute energies within it throughout, the day, and also to transmute the energies outside of it. So that way you can, yeah, just not be affected and just be able to spin things into light, right? Also program your shield for love to come freely in and out as if there's nothing there. Because with the shielding, again, it's so potent that if you're not careful, you'll keep love out. You'll keep your luck out. You'll keep things that want your blessings that are coming to you because it's vibration. But you're so powerful that if you say, I'm shielding up, all these things must stay at bay. We don't want that, right? So you want to make sure that your blessings can come and go freely. They can enter your shield, they can exit your shield. And that's the beautiful thing. Something that protects you, but that maintains the integrity of what? Of what you are. What are you? One. You're one. Your true state, which is spirit, is a state of oneness. So everything right now is actually connected. That's why I can read for you guys and I can feel your energies here because there's no separation. Whether it's time, space, bodies, through these cameras, there's no separation. It's all here and now. And so that's what you truly are. And so when you're shielding up, you want to make sure that it serves what you are. And that's why you choose to have your shield open, penetrable by love. Love frequencies can come and go freely. That's the connectedness, right? But it keeps out all the low stuff and transmutes it. And finally, last thing I want to say about shielding is that you can also program your shield, have a little fun with it, good fun, don't be weird about things, but you can have fun with your shielding. Try an invisibility shield, right? If you want to move through a space undetected, so to speak, kind of fade into the background, you can try the invisibility. But please, yeah, oops, I lost you guys for a quick second there. But yeah, but please, if you do decide to play around with the invisibility shield, please, 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 please remember to remove it. Okay. And also remember not to cross streets. Do not put your invisibility shield around your car while you're driving, right? Because guess what? You won't be seen. Does that mean that you'll disappear from the physical plane? No, not at all. It just means that attention that would normally kind of go towards you will just not, you just won't be noticed, right? I think I told this story once here on this channel, but I had heard this story once and totally makes sense where this person had a business. They started a new business, which was great. And they did a really great job with clearing the space and blessing the space and all that stuff that you do for a new business. And then they shielded their place as well, which is good too. You don't want any riffraff, right? God bless local buffoonery. You're not here for that. But the problem is that they shielded so well and they didn't program it to, allow love to come and grow, to come and grow. Wow, to come and grow. Did you hear that? That's right. Let's bear it in. Let's bear it in so that it can maximize you, right? But vitalize you, revitalize you. But yeah. Sorry, I just had a little side conversation. Oh my God, Spirit's so funny. Um, but yeah, what was I saying? I was saying yes. So the problem is that they shielded up too much and they didn't program it in order to be conducive to running their business well, that people kept walking right by it. There's this new beautiful store, and instead of looking left in through the doors, they would look right, for example, or they'd look down at their phone. They just wouldn't notice it, right? And that's because now they were invisible. They were too shielded up. And you don't even have to do an invisibility shield to become invisible, by the way. If you shield up way too much, and it's like I said, you didn't let the open it up for love to come and flow, then you're not there. So definitely you want to, if you're using invisibility and you're playing around with it, just make sure that you remember to take it off, right? Also, there are other things you can do with your shield, and I'm not going to go into it here, but just be mindful that there are a lot of things that you can do that are positive and that are not negative. The last thing I will mention to you guys is be mindful of your energetic output, meaning whatever it is that the actions that you take, the words that you say, because this is all vibration. So even self-deprecating humor, which I actually love, but even that is using your vibration, your words, your ability to express in service to the I am not, right? So be mindful of that. You don't want to beat the drum of not me anymore. Let's do our best. Yeah, so be mindful of your energetic output and the energetic footprint that you leave on the world. One of the things that I want to say is that this whole I said what I said culture is giving low consciousness. And I know like a lot of people, now I'm going to say I said what I said, right? But I get it. I know that it's like riding on these coattails of, well, hear me roar. For some people, they see it as an expression of their femininity because women have been silenced so much. Some people see it as part of their identity, is whatever people are seeing it. It could be something as simple as someone saying, I'm an Aries and I deserve to, whatever people are saying. But please be careful with that, because you can have this idea of this trend being a thing because you've been perceiving yourself as being silenced in so many ways, and legitimately silenced on this planet in many ways. But don't jump out of the frying pan into the fire. You still move with decorum, with higher frequency. And so the reality of it is that you realize that, yes, you may have been silenced. Yes, you may have been victimized. Yes, blah, 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 to everything you were saying. But it doesn't mean that you have the license to bully your way around. There is such a thing as pushing your weight around, and you must be mindful of that, because you will have to answer for that. You're not going to tell the lords of karma, oh, hey, because they're the ones doing stuff up there. You're not going to be like, oh, hey, well, it was because so and so, and I felt like this. And so that I just had to let that. Yeah, you could still be mindful of how you treat people. Always remember, move with the golden rule. And some of you may say, okay, well, when I was out of pocket, people came at me like that. Okay, maybe they did, and they will have to answer to that as well. Now, we may not like it, we may not feel that it's fair, but there is some responsibility that you will have to bear when you go to the other side for how you imprinted upon this world, how you left people feeling, the choices that you made. And it's not to shame any of us, because we are all in the same boat. Let me let you know. couldn't come through me to you if it weren't for me as well, right? But we are our brother's keepers. Now, this doesn't mean, again, it's all about balance. This doesn't mean that every time you stand up for yourself or anytime I say something, it goes wrong. I would, if that's where your mind just zooped to, I would say, please get out of the house of martyrdom. Okay. You're not on the cross here, like, no, no, don't climb that ladder, right? The point I'm trying to say is be mindful. And it doesn't take much to be kind. It doesn't take much to have compassion for yourself and for others. And you're not being told not to say something. It's just a friendly reminder that how you say things is important. And actually, for those souls who are working lifetimes on a lesson that is related to communication, they're moving from lower states of communication and building up to heart-based communication. And so one of the lessons that they learn along that pathway is that the way that you communicate does make a difference. And you are responsible for the way that you treat others. Listen, don't come at me. Don't kill the messenger. I'm just letting you know. So if you are someone who definitely is in your I said what I said era, please be mindful that there was a time before social media, and this goes in general for anything that is trending. There was a time before social media, and there will be a time after social media, in a sense. I mean, it's probably always going to be around, but it's going to go through its own phases of evolution. So please be mindful of how you treat the world, because you know what the world is. It's an extension of you, right? So whatever you put out there is you will have to contend to contend with. And also, I want you to know that down here, we may have certain ideas about why we did things, and it makes so much sense down here. The world would be behind you, but the minute you step cross that threshold and you come back into your right-mindedness and you're sitting there with your team and you guys are all looking at your stuff, and now you're remembering, oh yeah, I am a sovereign multidimensional co-creator being. Oh yeah, I'm seeing the docket because everybody's going to have the docket. Yeah, everyone's going to have the docket in front of them. It's not just, we're not sharing packets here, right? And then you're like, oh yeah, at age so and so I was working on this. Oh yeah, those posts I wrote. Oh yeah, that oh, okay, I get it. It's not just going to see that, you're not just going to see that you wrote that lesson in hoping that you would have made a higher choice, but you're going to see what choices were there. You're going to see what choices you made. You're going to see, and this is the kicker, you're going to also see slash experience the effect of what you had on all of the other parties there. Why? Because that's what the soul's about. It's needing the lessons. It wants to see everything. Nobody escapes that. And so in that moment, you may have on earth thought you were in the right or in the high seat, only to come back to your senses, so to speak, once you transition, and you're seeing that you did not do what it is that you didn't make the higher choice. So be careful, right? Now, that being said, we're going to end here, but Spirit is showing, look, the orb of light, and this is the receiving card, remember? And look, ding, 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 elevation. And it's funny because when I put this card down, I heard the word crisis of, I mean, I heard it, I didn't hear it, but I saw it. Maybe heard it and then I saw it, but crisis of faith. Okay. Heart transmission. So this is what this is all about, by the way. It's all about bringing you into alignment with what? Your heart. So look at how this energy is coming straight down from the higher self, coming down to you super cutely. Look at you and your teddy bear just receiving God's grace. Because why? Because you're amazing. And what are you? A child of God. Straight up. Straight up. That's what you are. And look here, it's almost like us, me and my team helping to usher this in. You're here to receive. And didn't we say on this call that you would be receiving? No, it wasn't this call, it was the last call. I mean, I just did them back to back, right? When we started this video, I said, hey, I just finished this video. That was the activation where you received something. So look at this elevation. And this is what it's about. It comes in and so definitely as this light comes to you, you're going to be in your divine consciousness era. It's already coming in for you guys if you're feeling it. And make sure you drink a lot of water over the next few days. 6 days is what I'm getting for these energies to settle and really sink into your nooks and crannies and your energetic space. Also for any upgraded materials and stuff to occur in your consciousness. Make sure that you're doing what we said about the clearing, the shielding, and protection, especially over the next few days, because, and if you here's the good thing about it. If you're falling off that bandwagon, or if you need to like do up the shielding or something, your spirit team will let you know, because these are big energies. And so they will ripple through your life. And what did we say when it may be in the last video, my bad. But what did we say when these high frequencies come into your vessel? Your world, your environment will shake. It will vibrate, because when we have higher frequencies come into low frequency energy, it's vibrating faster. That's what a higher frequency is. It's vibrating so fast versus Eeyore with low frequency. Okay, maybe I mopey. It's two different frequencies. So when the frequency is very high, like the angelic frequencies are so high, they're so fast. That's why we can't see them, because it's vibrating too quickly. But they're here, that it's too quick for our eyes to see, right? But they're standing right next to you, for example. But anyway, but you'll pick up on a ghost. Some of you really pick up on a ghost quickly because they're closer in frequency to us than, especially if you're in a low frequency and yeah, anyway, you're a vibrational match sometimes, so be careful. But anyway, yeah, so because this frequency that's coming in is your divine frequency, it's very, very high. So it's going to shake, rattle, and roll a bit in your life, like a wave. So whatever happens, just allow it to happen, allow things to unfold. If people get angry with you, hang up on you, start pushing you around energetically, all sorts of stuff, you know what just happened. They felt the light, they felt the frequency, and whatever it makes them feel has nothing to do with you. But you may be downwind of some of those energies because we're all connected, and you may feel a little kickback, but spirit is saying that's why it's important to keep up with your shielding. Look how it's almost like what was once a form in her hand. Look at all these planets. Imagine she had a planet or a ball in her hand. Once these frequencies come in, some things will no longer be able to be in your field. It's almost like they'll disappear. I was going to say dissolve. The guide said disappear. Because what did I tell you? The higher up in frequency you go, the higher up in density you go, the more you can see, the higher up in awareness you go, that's when your discernment really, really comes in handy. You'll start to see the things that were existing seemingly on this planet in the third dimension, even in the fourth dimension, the astral plane, they may terminate at that level because they're not real. If it's not real, it cannot stand up to the light. It has no substance. So when we bring true light in, I'm not talking about the false light, but real light in, which has love in it, it's literally revealing nothingness. And that's why things can literally disappear from your world. That's why things fall apart. They get dismantled. They get juggled, jostled, all sorts of stuff, because the vibration is too strong for them to stand in your field, number one. And number two, what is the light? It's illumination, it's truth, it's information, it's more of I guess it's not full knowing because you can't handle that at this level, but it's more information. It's more puzzle pieces. And so with that added information that's coming in for you, you can see better. You have better vision. So what was once there, you look again, nothing. Because why? It was never real to begin with. Okay. So I will say this as we end. Sometimes it's a hard sell to tell people that certain things don't exist. And what the reason why is because they're so busy. And when I say they, I mean me too, because we're all so busy experiencing the manifestations of our false thoughts, along with the manifestation of God's thoughts, which is truth, which is reality. The truth is, we are just experiencing consciousness in form. And it's hard for people to hear, hey, I know you just got stabbed in the back, literally, or that car accident, or the taxes, or your ex just whatever, or you're feeling away, whatever. But it's not real. Don't worry, it's not real. It's not real. It's hard to hear that because you're in the midst of it. The knife did just cut you. You are bleeding. But on this plane, remember, you're the dreamer, and you agreed to come in here and experience a world where whatever you dream up with enough belief and enough momentum of belief, beating the drum of that belief, you will also get to experience. That's why it's like walking around in your own mind, but it's also a collective experience. So you're also walking around in the minds of other people who share the same vibration as you and the same belief as you. It's just like in a let's say elementary school. The school has many different clubs, many different things happening. Things if you went back to middle school or whatever and you found out all the stuff that other kids were getting involved in, you'd be like, what? There I was playing Magic the Gathering in the library at lunch. Wait, what happened? Because it's a huge school, but you will only gravitate and be affected by what? Those people who were like you and vibrationally or whatever, and you knew about them, but there are many others that you didn't even know about. So, you know, respect the fact that you're the dreamer and that you do have command over the dream space. This is the dream. And so you have to mind yourself, your vibrational accord, so that you can help yourself navigate this world much better. And while it is hard to understand something as seemingly lofty and doesn't make sense, and why am I even what the hell is the whole point of understanding all this stuff that you're saying, Jonelle, about spiritual law and I am consciousness and proper self concept and self acceptance, and what does that have to do with me when I'm facing a foreclosure and an eviction, and I just got divorced after 43 years, and my child just died, and what good does that do? Well, first of all, you did choose to come to this planet and you are experiencing many things. However, eventually, whether in this lifetime or future lifetimes, you will eventually need to return to self. And the value of cultivating that sense of self while you're here and here and now is that you give yourself the opportunity to choose healing. Because what you believe to be true about yourself, again, is directing a lot of your experience down here. It doesn't mean that you can bypass your soul's curriculum and that you can just hop, skip, and jump to heaven on earth. No, because you also came down here with things you needed to learn. Your soul wanted to learn. But I'll tell you this, you staying outside of yourself for this whole lifetime is not going to get you anywhere closer to anything. But the minute you start to really cultivate a relationship with yourself and to go inward and to have that kind of connection. If you don't even have a daily practice or some sort of timeout for anything or anything in your day for yourself, even if it's 1 minute, then please do get something like that going. It may be hard, but it's worth it, because even then you would be in a better position to have better clarity on the life that you're leading. And that's a very personal journey, right? And that's, for some people, that's what this can really give them, the ability to better understand what's happening with them and how and why and how to respond, not react. And then there are some people who are well beyond that, and they are already like, what I'm telling them is not new for them because they already do this. They've been doing this. And for them, they may have the opportunity, as per their soul's curriculum, to actually manifest on this planet in a way that a lot of people would deem to be magical or, masterful or whatever, right? It just depends on who you are and what your soul's curriculum is and what your soul's potential is and what you want to experience. But it all starts with getting into connection with self. And finally, they're asking me to remind you that if you are watching, and if you're still watching, wow, thank you and God bless you. I'm sorry it's taking so long, but I just had to get it out. They're reminding you that if you're watching my videos, especially if you're watching these last few ones, then you are here to be of spiritual service, and that you have been, and I don't want to use the C word, chosen, because they're saying that, but I don't want you to get caught up in the spiritual significance of that, because everybody can be chosen. The thing is, do you choose to align yourself with the frequency that is needed to operate at a higher level of frequency? It's just that. It's, can you reach the frequency? Can you create the conditions within yourself, within your energetic vessel, to receive that frequency, to hold the frequency and maintain it, embody it, and then to allow it to pass through you, to be available to others? It's, if you can reach the frequency and hold it and transmit it, then guess what? You chose. And so Spirit chose to give you the message, or to put the project through you, or to work with you, or whatever. You're not going to get a no. Spirit is not going to say, no, not you, unless you signed up for something else and you literally need to be available for something else. It's just whoever can meet the frequency can do it. Doesn't mean that you have to meet this certain divine consciousness frequency to be able to do any service. There are all services of all certain types and all sorts of things. But right now, is the group of people that are being called into to watch these videos and to do this. Spirit is talking to you, right? Maybe in 2 months it'll be another group, or maybe it'll still be you and we'll still be talking about this. But Spirit is saying that yeah, pump with it. They didn't say that, I said that, but sorry, I'm getting tired. I'm fading. But long story short, after the long story, TLDR, just you have to be mindful about how you move throughout the space. Okay. Anything else? Thank you. They're literally, I'm hearing them say video, video. They're like, put it out, put it out. Meanwhile, I'm just like, okay, all right, guys, must sleep. AKA go and get lost watching TV. Anyway, if you'd like to work more personally with me, if you feel called, if you need an energetic tune-up, or want to talk about mission work or love relationships or whatever it is that's coming to mind, you know exactly where to find me. And thank you so much. And for those of you who yeah, anyway, thank you so much. God bless you guys. Mwah. Oh, and I know I haven't put out any of the cute little personal readings in my YouTube shorts recently. I will get back to that. I've just been super hectically engrossed in like so many side projects. But anyway, yes, keep an eye out for that. Bye, guys.